Today I'm going to tell you an interesting story about the life of St. John of the Cross. St. John is famously known as the one of the doctors of the Church and is the patron saint of poets and mystics. He was born on June 24, 1542, in a small Spanish village called Fontiveros. His birth name was Juan Alvarez, and his early life was filled with trials. His father Gonzalo came from a rich noble family, and one day, when he married Catalina, who was a poor silk weaver, his family disowned him. Because of this, they plunged into poverty, and they were in deep hardship. When he was a child, his father died, leaving his mother to care for him alone. They wandered from town to town, searching for work, and were often hungry and cold. They finally settled in Medina del Campo, where he studied at a school run by the Jesuits, where his intelligence and devotion stood out. To help his mother, he worked in a hospital caring for the sick and poor. At 21 years old, John entered the Carmelite order, taking the name Brother John of St. Matthias. In 1567, he became a priest, but he longed for a stricter, more contemplative life. Around that time, he met St. Teresa of Avila, who was reforming the Carmelite nuns to return to their original spirit of prayer and simplicity. She convinced John to help her do the same for the men's branch. Inspired by her vision, he changed his name to John of the Cross, symbolizing his desire to follow Christ's suffering and love. But not everyone welcomed the reform. Some friars saw his strict discipline as extreme. In 1577, his opponents captured him and locked him in a small, dark cell in Toledo. There he was whipped, starved, and humiliated for 9 long months. Yet in that darkness, John found light. He began to experience deep mystical visions of God's love. It was during this painful imprisonment that he composed some of the most beautiful spiritual poetry books in history, The Dark Night of the Soul. This book tells us his journey from darkness towards his union with God. Then, while he was imprisoned, a miracle happened to him. One night, while he was praying, a divine light appeared to him and guided him out. As he followed, his cell opened by itself, and eventually he escaped, where he sought refuge in a nearby convent. Many believed his escape was miraculously guided by God. Throughout his life, John performed so many miracles, and he was known to have a deep spiritual connection with God. On December 14, 1591, John died at the age of 49 years old. According to some friars, a sweet and heavenly fragrance filled the room where his body was laid to rest, and no one could tell where the scent came from. After a few decades, his tomb was opened and they found it incorrupt, like it never decayed, and it was still full of fragrance, which was a sign of his holiness. Today, his remains are placed in a beautiful tomb located in the monastery he founded in Segovia, Spain. He is also venerated as the patron saint of poets and mystics, and his feast day is celebrated every 14th of December. If you like stories like this, support us, follow, like, and subscribe.